What's the point of a girl being in a relationship unless it's going to lead to marriage? Was this written by the transformed wife? Hello, and welcome back to my sofa, this time with a slightly closer microphone, so hopefully it won't be quite so echoey. It's probably still going to be echoey. Here comes the small beast. Hello. Hi. Today we are going to be talking about what I would call the female or women's equivalent to MGTOW. Now, my MGTOW video stirred up quite a bit of fuss from a lot of angry men, and I think it's because I didn't open with the disclaimer that I thought was obvious, but apparently not. MGTOW itself isn't the problem. Choosing to date or not date people is not a problem. If you don't want to date women, that's fine. You don't have to. The problem I had with the MGTOW posts, and I've said this over and over again, was the fact that they grouped all women in as these evil, terrible creatures. They made dating and relationships out to be this like horrific game that you play with good guys and bad guys and villains and so on, and it was all very weird. So the other night I'm browsing Reddit, and I find this subreddit called FemaleDatingStrategy. And from what I can gather, it's a bunch of single women sharing dating strategies, dating tips, relationship advice, which on the surface is absolutely fine. Just like MGTOW. Men deciding not to date women, not a problem with it. Women sharing dating tips with other women, I can't even say women, not a problem with it. The issue I have is with the toxicity of the community that is created within these groups. Not all members of the Female Dating Strategy subreddit Reddit are going to be toxic or troublesome or have these problematic views, just like not all members of MGTOW are going to have these problematic views. But there are individuals that do. There are certain viewpoints put forward, certain strategies that are told that are harmful and problematic, and they're what I want to discuss today, and they're what I have the problem with. It is by no means me generalizing about an entire group of people, because that's what I'm saying the problem is. We're critiquing these specific views I'm going to be talking about today, not an entire group of people in general. You guys really love this monster in a wine glass thing, don't you? And I gotta say, I feel classy as hell right now. That's why I've gone for like the pretty dress and everything. Love it. Also, I just want to give a shout out to this dress because it is one of my favourite dresses of all time. I love the colour, love the shape, love everything about it. Finally started wearing it again because I fixed a little bit of like the sewing that was going undone on the strap here, and now I can wear it again and I love it. But, just gonna share this little tip with you guys. This is some like fancy designer, well not designer, but it's like an expensive brand, right? The dress itself was supposed to retail at like 100 and something quid. I picked it up for 30 quid on eBay a while back. Tell me that's not incredible. Love it. Anyway, the post that I wanted to start with is one that I find quite interesting, because this is like the pinned post in the subreddit. This is meant to like summarize what the subreddit is all about, and they call it the FDS guide, the Female Dating Strategy Guide. Non-mainstream opinions and strategies held by this sub. It starts off in a really like friendly, approachable way. It's basically saying, you know, everyone who doesn't know what this is about, come join in the conversation, we want you. This is a helpful guide for the triggered scrotes and the pick-me's, whatever that is, that are shocked when they realise the tactics that this sub advocates for. If you find you are not on the same page with us, this sub might not be for you. So already, you know, they're totally welcoming, totally open to opinions that don't quite fit with their... No, I'm joking. They're shutting it down right away. They're creating a little echo chamber. And again, that's part of what I have the problem with. FDSers believe that the man should pay for dates and should be responsible for significantly more than half of the expenses in the relationship. Was this written in the 1800s? Okay, maybe slight exaggeration there, but I don't get it. Like, what is wrong within a relationship? Just being equal, paying your way. Whoever earns more or has more money at the time can potentially pay a little bit more. It doesn't have to be a 50-50 split, but it has to be equal. That's how relationships should work. You know, it's not a man's job just because he was born with a penis. How do these people think same-sex relationships work? How do these people think relationships with non-binary people work? It's insane. FDSs believe that a woman should delay sex with a new guy for at least 6 weeks to 2 months, potentially even longer, for better chances at getting a relationship. Again, this was one of my big problems with MGTOW, and is one of my big problems here. Both of them have very different approaches to sex, but both see it as something transactional, something to bargain with. It's insane! Sex is simply an activity that two people who are interested in each other do. I don't understand the people who, like, assign value to people based on the number of sexual partners they've had. I don't understand people who assign value to people based on when and if and how often and, you know, what they'll do in terms of sex. It's bizarre. If it's consensual, if you're both enjoying it, what's the problem? They're making far too big of a deal out of it and making it something that people feel they should be so ashamed of or worried about or self-conscious about, or like, we can't do this, we can only do this, people are going to judge me if I... No. If it's two consenting adults, or more, if that's your thing, as long as all adult participants are consenting, it shouldn't matter. Sex is not a bargaining tool or, I don't know, something you exchange and have rules and... It's so weird. And in the same vein, I find this next one incredibly weird, and I know a lot of you watching will do as well, because you brought up points like this before. FDSs do not support the sexual degradation of women under the guise of consensual BDSM. This is so weird. Now, the BDSM community obviously isn't something that I personally know about, but it is something that a lot of my commenters and viewers have brought up time and time again. The fact that consensual BDSM is completely fine. You know, again, as long as all parties are aware of it and you have like safe words in place and so on, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not degrading if it's something you enjoy and agree to and ask for. A lot of my viewers and commenters, you guys have brought up in the past that you feel that the BDSM community is demonized in some way and is looked down upon as though you're doing something to devalue themselves. And, you know, I don't think that's okay. You guys don't think that's okay. But again, if you are one of these people, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments, because like I say, I can't speak from personal experience, only repeating back what you guys have told me, but I find it so bizarre. This feels like such an unhealthy relationship to sex in general. It's like they don't understand what it's for, and that sex is a healthy, natural part of relationships. Not necessarily romantic relationships either, just relationships with people. It's part of being human. It's part of being an animal. Again, this next one has huge echoes of MGTOW, in that it puts far too much emphasis on a person's sexual history. To me, it doesn't matter. I would find it so weird if I went on a date with someone and they tried to ask me like, oh, how many people have you been with? How many people have you done this with? Tell me everything. It's kind of weird. All you really need to know is a person free from STDs and stuff like that? Do they have any children? And are they willing to be monogamous with you if that's what you're interested in? And like faithful and stuff. That's kind of all you need to know. I don't understand this view that like people should ascribe worth to someone based on their sexual past. It is stupid. I've seen a lot of MGTOW guys say that apparently, oh well, if a woman slept with X number of people or more than this number of people, then they can't pair bond anymore. It's dodgy science. It's not true. There's a great book called The Ethical Slut that actually like goes into the research behind a lot of this and talks about how as humans we don't have like I guess like a limited amount of love and caring to give. It's not like a woman is born with X amount of love and stuff, and if she has too many penises put in her, that love is depleted and it's all gone and there's nothing left for you. That's not how it works. Not at all. It gives the example of how a woman who has multiple kids doesn't start loving her older kids any less because she has new kids. So a person who's had partners in the past, you know, it doesn't deplete her capacity to care for her current partner. That kind of thing. And the book explains it better than I ever could. I'm rambling a bit. You know it's what I do. Anyway, the point is, I find this next point ridiculous because of that reason, but also because it's promoting lying and hiding things, and that just does not seem healthy in any kind of friendship, relationship, anything. FDSers do not support being upfront about a woman's sexual past / sexual history. No matter how many men you've slept with in the past, your answer, whenever a new guy asks, should range from 3 to 5. Would point out that a guy even petty enough to ask in the first place is a red flag on its own. Now the last point there, I don't know what I think of that, because On the one hand, I'm like, yeah, I don't see why it's necessary to ask. And I think if a guy did ask it on a first or second date, I'd be like, whoa, why do you need to know? That's weird. You're being very kind of like personal. It doesn't affect you. You don't need to know why you're asking. I would think maybe it was a bit controlling or jealousy. I don't know. Not always, just sometimes. But on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, okay, if you're going to be in a long-term relationship, maybe some people do want to know about the past and just like sharing and stuff. Not in a judgmental way, just in a, hey, I want to know about you kind of way. Either way, I think if the conversation does come up, or actually, even if it's a different conversation, it doesn't matter what the conversation is, I don't think it's ever okay to like actively lie to your partner like that. It's really weird. It's very manipulative. There's no point to it. And again, it all comes back to this weird trend of relating value with sex. It's odd and bizarre to me, and I don't like it. And the advice I would give is, screw this, be honest, and if a partner can't accept you for who you are, they're obviously not right for you. FDSs advocate for the woman putting herself first. You, as a woman, have inherent value, and as such, you're the prize. Yes, you have inherent value, of course you do, but the prize? He should work to earn your love, respect, and commitment. A man you have to chase is not a man worth having. The chasing bit I get. I think at some point you have to realise someone isn't interested in you if you constantly have to chase them. I get that. But the whole like, you're the prize. The man needs to chase you. He needs to work for you. No. Oh my God, I hate this. Again, it's like completely misunderstanding the point of a relationship. It's a very unhealthy way of looking at relationships. Relationships, if you want one, should be about building something together, building a life together, being a team who enjoy each other's company, and you're friends and you're working together and you're supporting each other. If you view yourself as a prize he has to work for, God, it's like you're objectifying yourself. It's like you don't see him as a person either. It's very weird. How about both of you show love and respect and commitment, and both of you try and earn love and respect and commitment? Why is that so difficult for some people? FDSs do not believe in any kind of male pandering of any kind. The advice and tactics prescribed here are for women and for the benefit of women primarily. Male pandering? Do you mean treating men like human beings? FDS is amoral. If a woman wants to date multiple men, we see nothing wrong in it. Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely okay, as long as you're open and honest about it. In fact, we encourage it for those women who find themselves falling too hard, too quickly for one guy. That's weird. Or find themselves in clearly toxic relationships that they've been finding difficult to leave. Starting to see a new guy sometimes help distract from the one you're with and can lift the veil and provide fresh clarity on the fact that it's time to leave him. Now, dating multiple people, if your partner's aware of it, fine. Polyamory, fine. Dating around before you commit to someone, fine. But if you're dating someone and you've made a commitment and you've said you're going to be monogamous, it's not okay to lie to them and date other people behind their back. That's just a basic bit of human decency. They're going to say that if you find yourself disagreeing with more than 20% of what is listed up there, then this might not be the sub for you. It's not, but we can still discuss it. I thought we'd also take a look at a few of the posts on the subreddit. Some of them are quite long, so I don't know how much detail you want me to go into, but if you like this video and you want to see more from it, we can do another video on it, a follow-up looking at more posts in more detail. This post I want to talk about reads, "Guy asking to be in a relationship equals not a good thing, ? For some reason, everyone led me to believe that a guy asking you to be serious is some good or ultimate sign that you're valuable as a woman, in a way the equivalent of a guy being able to get laid." What? I wish I had real wine at this point. Your value as a woman, as a person, as anyone, if you're a man watching this, your value as a man, none of it comes down to whether you're in a relationship or not. You have value as an individual. A relationship should add to your life. It should be a little bit extra. It should be you building something with someone who is your support and your friend and everything. Being in a relationship does not give you any value. You're not a more legitimate woman because you're in a relationship. Whether you're single or not, you're still valid as a person and a woman. Or a man, if you're a man watching, or whatever. The point is, what? Yeah, when I look back at previous relationships, or those of others my age, early 20s, it's literally just being used for sex until they get bored or something better comes along. How is that any much better than just having casual sex, other than lower risk of STDs? You're just being used for sex and then discarded and heartbroken either way. Often when you're young, relationships don't work out. It's important when you go into a relationship, you're both clear about what you want, what you might be looking for, where you think it's going. If one partner thinks it's a casual short-term thing and the other doesn't, that's where problems arise. But if both people want something serious and try and make something serious work, that can be great, but it doesn't always work out, like with me and Dan. We thought it was serious, we thought it was working, we thought it was great, and it was for a long time. But then things changed. I didn't much like the person he was becoming. I didn't like where our life was going. I felt like I was being held back by him in a lot of ways, both kind of personally and professionally and so on. So I left him. Now that doesn't mean I spent 4 years using him for sex and discarded him. It means we spent 4 years trying to build a life together, building a life together, being happy, sharing amazing memories, and it just didn't have a future. You have to be mature enough to see the difference. And yes, sometimes people will use you and discard you, but that's kind of a part of life and dating. And if you don't want to risk that, you either have to be really, really picky about who you date or not date at all. The real issue I have with this post is this last part. What's the point of a girl being in a relationship unless it's going to lead to marriage? Isn't it just a waste of our previous years? These guys who go from relationship to relationship are just as much predators as those who just sleep around. What's the point of a girl being in a relationship unless it's going to lead to marriage? Was this written by the transformed wife? Why does everyone think that marriage is the ultimate goal? It's so weird to me. Marriage isn't like this prize. Marriage is just a way of saying, hey, I found someone amazing in my life and I want to celebrate it. I want to make it official. I want to kind of like have this thing saying, yes, we're building a life together. I think that a lot of people just feel like they need to get married. They don't think about necessarily who they're getting married to. It's as though marriage is some kind of achievement you have to reach, and it doesn't matter who you get there with as long as you do it. And that's such an unhealthy way of looking at things. It's so bizarre to me. Just because a relationship doesn't mean to marriage, it doesn't mean it wasn't a good thing while it lasted. It doesn't mean you didn't learn something along the way. It doesn't mean you didn't have amazing times and memories and so on. If really you think the only point of a relationship is to get married, that's really weird to me. You might as well just get like an arranged marriage or pay for some like Russian bride. And even then, like, what do you do for the rest of your life? Another person brought up the exact same point in a thread called Underrated Strategy. Single to engaged, no boyfriends allowed. What is this? There is not a lot that a man wouldn't do to get you when you are the one he wants. There is nobody out there nicer and more thoughtful than a man who wants to have sex with you but hasn't had the opportunity yet. That's not a nice, thoughtful man. That's a man trying to use you and manipulate you. If a man can't respect you the same as he did before as after you've had sex, you're with the wrong man. And in fact, that's not a man, that's a boy. The extent of what a man is willing to do to impress you is not going to increase the moment you agree to be his girlfriend. If anything, you will get more from a man as long as he feels like he is still chasing you, which is what causes the effort to start dying down once he feels like he tied you down and you are finally his girlfriend. All you really get out of agreeing to be someone's girlfriend is the promise that he will continue to do all the same stuff he was doing while courting you, whilst also being monogamous and faithful to you until one day he decides to make an honest woman out of you. And that's a bad thing? But apparently this is not guaranteed and ultimately does not mean much. Your chastity is worth a lot more than his. You have greater options as a woman than he does. You sleep with whoever you want to. He takes whatever he can get. He should get bothered about you seeing other people. You really shouldn't worry too much about what he is doing with his life. Yet for some reason, it's usually women that chase after the girlfriend-boyfriend relationship, more so than men, even though men benefit from it more than us. Why is this a competition? They benefit from marriage more than us as well, but marriage has a lot more benefits to women than boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. Yet women still fall into them. Why? What's the point? You get all the same things from a guy that you would get if you weren't committed to him, besides monogamy. In return, you have to beat men away from you with a stick for the rest of your life. Richer, more handsome men. Yeah, because that's all women care about. That could probably treat you better. You have to say no to every nice gift or fancy meal you're offered for a man who is still on the fence about whether or not you are wife material. Wife material? Also, since when is marriage just the man's decision? I mean, silly me thinking I had a say in anything. You also get to perform some wifey duties. How much will depend on a lot of factors. If you live together, tough luck. You have basically become like a wife that is easier to leave, reaps no tax benefits, and isn't recognised by the law. Screw this, I'm getting wine. Okay, now we can carry on. Here is an underrated strategy. You are either single or married. There is no in between. Any man that wants you to commit to him has to put a ring on your finger first. They acknowledge that it sounds like absolute insanity, and it is. You will never get to really know anyone this way. Only weird, low-value, desperate men would agree to something like that. But then, sarcasm, sarcasm, sarcasm. I'm not gonna read. I'm the only one allowed to be sarcastic in my videos. What actually happens? Every guy you talk to is super excited when you tell him you don't want a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, because he doesn't have to worry about you begging him to be your boyfriend in a few months. Things seem great at first. He can swipe around on Tinder without feeling any guilt. Things are going great. Until they aren't. Until he realizes that you are also still active on apps. Until he recognizes that as a woman, you have more options than he does. You are going on a lot more dates than he is. Your Snapchat every day is at a new fancy steakhouse that he can't afford. You do not need him. Now he wants you to commit to him. Little by little, he starts filling up more of your time. The way he sees it, the more he takes you out, the less time you have to go on dates with the rest of your rotation. Pretty soon, he's taking you out 3 to 4 times a week, or more if you let him. Time passes. It's been 6 months to a year now. You are now the only woman he is talking to because you take up so much of his time and money trying to keep... Sorry. I can't do this. You are now the only woman he is talking to because you take up so much of his time and money trying to keep you unavailable for other men, but you still have 4 other men on speed dial. He knows that, and it drives him crazy. He realizes that he's gotten to know you as much as you will allow him to under these circumstances, and he can't imagine losing you now. He is now ready to propose, because the idea of another man having you keeps him up at night. He would rather take time to have a longer engagement and lock you down now than continue to risk letting someone else swoop in and regret losing you forever. Now, because you wouldn't accept a boyfriend, you got yourself a husband in a fraction of the time it would have taken him to propose if you let him superficially lock you down with a girlfriend title for 2 years first. This sounds like some kind of like weird, I don't know, like, okay. You know in Bob's Burgers, Tina writes like erotic friend fiction, right? This sounds like a woman who has like a friends with benefits that she's really into, who's not into her, and she's like writing this to be like, one day he's gonna love me. I'll make him love me. I'll show him I'm better than him. And one day he's gonna come round and he'll marry me. And no, love, you're delusional. Relationships aren't about manipulation and making someone jealous and being like, oh, I'm better than you, you better want me. No, screw that. The point of an actual committed monogamous relationship before marriage, if you want a committed monogamous marriage, is to see if you're compatible, if you work together, how things are going to be, what it's like to build a life together before you make a legal commitment. This isn't a relationship. This is you being manipulative and weird. If you tell a guy that you're dating around and he can date around too, he's just gonna think you don't want anything serious and he's not gonna get committed. That's not how the real world works. Yes, occasionally things like this will happen and you'll just be like casually dating someone and then they get feelings and like, yes, it can happen. But it's not like a guaranteed tactic. It's weird. Field report. I employed this tactic my whole life because it was how my parents thought. In my family, there are no boyfriends and girlfriends, and bringing one home is a huge sign of disrespect in my parents' eyes. Now this makes sense. So I used that as an excuse to tell men why I can't be their girlfriend. By the time I was in my mid-20s, I'd already been engaged twice, but received multiple marriage proposals. First one when I was 18, the last one happened at 22. I'm not sure that's healthy. Then I fell in love with my oh my god, it is erotic friend fiction. I fell in love with my best friend when I was almost 23 and decided I did not want to be engaged or married. I wanted to take things slow. I agreed to be his girlfriend. I dropped everyone in my rotation until 4 years into our relationship when I realized I was ready for the next step, but he was not. Yeah, that's the thing, that happens. You're at different stages in your life. This is why it's important that you talk and you're open and honest at every stage of the relationship. I was shattered, but still ever so calculating. I played it cool and focused on myself for 7 months until our lease was up. I told him I could not live with a man who couldn't commit to me, and asked him to put everything he owns in a box to the left. Anyone remember that song? I'm not gonna sing. No, I can't sing. While I stood and watched in a pair of jeans that hadn't fit since I first met him. This has to be satire at this point, right? 2 to 3 more months pass, and I'm now the tightest and leanest I've ever been in my life. I look incredible. I end my nearly 5-year relationship. The feeling at the time was mutual. Good, healthy, good. We don't speak for a month, mostly because of me wanting no contact. He reaches out and asks to see me again. I agree. While we're out, I get a text from someone in my rotation, and he notices. What happened afterwards was an absolute romantic poop show. But I never expected him to react that way. I didn't plan to get a text at that time or build up a rotation just to make him jealous. Now he was desperate to fix his mistakes and confess that he was wrong and is not over me. I was not having it. I refused to be his girlfriend. I told him he has the same opportunities every other man has right now. He can either put a ring on my finger or continue sharing me. Oh my god. I made it clear that I have not forgiven him for wasting my time and don't know how or when I will. He's literally losing his mind right now, trying to win back my approval and impress me. He's done more for me in the last 2 months of him trying to court me and win me back than he did in the 4 years of me being the cool, casual girlfriend. Oh my god, this is so shallow. The gifts I have gotten, the restaurants I have been taken to, everything has leveled up drastically. Every dinner out together is a $200 dinner now. He goes out of his way to spend time with me now, and he openly admits it's because he wants to keep me busy so I don't have as much time to entertain my other dudes. People like this give women a bad name. After nearly 5 years of no planning on his end, he is now actively preparing for a proposal. I found out on accident, but he is proposing to me on an occasion that is coming up in the next 3 months. I don't know yet if I'm going to say yes right now, but look forward to seeing what other hoops he will jump through from here until then. Oh my god. She treats him worse than a dog. I treat Kyrouac with more respect than this. He is not the only man in my rotation planning a proposal for this year either. Even if I end up not getting engaged to either one of them, this tactic works and is the most liberating thing I ever decided for myself. Do these men planning to propose to you all know about the other men? Because, I don't know, I can't imagine ever wanting to marry someone who has 5 other women on the go. I'm not a prize to be won. I'm not going to fight off other women for someone's attention. I want to build a relationship with a single person, a friend, based on mutual respect. I'm not going to have, like, relationship Hunger Games with several other women. The comments are ridiculous as well. Wow, this is absolutely amazing advice. I will strongly consider implementing it in my own life. Wow, just wow. I never thought of it this way, but now I'm so curious to try this. Even if it has no effect on how the guys treat us, the single until married mindset would probably help in keeping our own expectations in check, or making you more delusional. This sub really blows my mind, in the best ways. I've been doing this without really realizing it, yet thinking there was something wrong with me for keeping my options open and expecting serious commitment. I'm so glad to have found this little community of women whose experiences match my own. Like I say, there's nothing wrong with dating around. Like, if you want to date multiple people, that's fine. But you can't expect someone to make a serious commitment to you if you're not offering serious commitment in return. It's weird. Anyway, that's where we're going to end things today. So this was the female dating strategy subreddit. It's weird, right? That's not just me. It's so odd. There were other posts as well. There were so many I could have talked about, so many I wanted to talk about. So if you do want to see another video on this, please let me know down in the comments. I'm also considering doing a video on basically like MGTOW responses, like 1 year on, or however long it is since I made the video, because I'm still getting the comments from MGTOW guys, and they are some of the most disgusting comments I've ever read, and they just kind of proved to me that I was completely right with that video, you know? And maybe not completely right. I acknowledge that I made some mistakes in that video, in that I didn't state the obvious enough. So obviously, like, as I said in the beginning, MGTOW itself, in terms of men going their own way, men deciding they don't want relationships, absolutely fine, nothing wrong with it, that's cool. Men's rights activists, absolutely cool, support it completely. I think men's issues are some of the biggest feminist issues today. For example, men not having like equal rights in custody battles, insanely important. Men's mental health issues and the stigma around them, insanely important. So that's not at all what I was belittling in that video. I was simply trying to critique some of the views from men who say they're MGTOW and therefore women are evil, women deserve to be raped, women don't deserve a vote, women aren't human, women are children. Like, it was the specific ideas I was criticizing there. Just like in this case, I'm criticizing these specific dating tips, not just women dating in general. Definitely not women casually dating, definitely nothing like that. I'm fully supportive of that. Adults, as long as what you're doing is consensual and open and you're honest about it, there should be no problems with whoever you want to date, however you want to date. You can do things in your own way, that's fine. But what I can't get behind is lying and manipulating and sneaking and point scoring. That is something I will never be okay with and never support and will always criticize. So there we go. Anyway, this video was just meant to be a little bit of a giggle, something a little bit fun, quite relaxed, while I'm here in my fancy dress, drinking wine. I didn't expect to actually get wine out, but I'm kind of glad I did now. It's kind of like early evening and I'm kind of relaxing and this is nice. I like this. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for sticking around. Let me know what you think of these female dating strategies down in the comments below. Would you ever employ any of these? Is this something you would do? Is this something I should do? It's not. I'm not going to do it. But let me know down in the comments. It will be a little bit of a giggle. Come on. Hello. Just before we end this video, a quick note for you guys. I've introduced a new tier on Patreon, which some of you guys have been asking for. It's a slightly higher tier, up at $20, which is now my highest tier. But what's really cool about it is that I'm going to be sending out postcards multiple times a year with photographs and designs and stuff done by me. They're all going to have personalised messages on them. They're going to be signed by me by hand. And I will be posting one out in December for all the people who sign up to Patreon this month. So before the end of November 2019, if you want to join Patreon, you can just do it for the month if you just want to get this postcard and then you can leave. That's up to you, that's fine. But just let you know, that is available, that is an option. You're going to get a designed by me, personalised, handwritten, Christmas-themed postcard from me if you sign up to my $20 Patreon tier before the end of the month, and I'll be sending those out in December. I'm not very good at this, you know, promoting myself kind of thing. I feel really awkward doing it. But I'm really excited to make these postcards, and it's going to be really good, isn't it, crew? Yes. Yes, it is. It was her idea. Blame her if you don't like it. You wasn't me. Love you, Bean. Anyway, we're done. Aren't we? Yes. Thank you for watching today, guys. I appreciate you so much. Don't forget to leave me some comments. Let me know if you like this video. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. And if you're not new here, turn on that little bell notification so you actually, you know, get notified when I upload. Because I have no schedule. I'm not that prepared. But hopefully, I'll see you guys again soon. Bye, guys. Say bye, Kyra. Say bye, Kyra. Come here. Are you gonna wave? Say bye. Bye. Bye, bye. Bye, bye. Yeah, I love you, baby. My little terror. Come on, let's get you a snack. Come on, then. Good girl. Love you.